as I was saying, I'm a triple board certified sleep physician, Dr. Guzman. We have another sleep physician in the room, Dr. Satoon. He's really happy to have you here. This is a workshop to talk about sleep health, how to optimize our sleep health from the mind-body perspective. So I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what I do. And with Dr. Zatuni, I've been joining in her book and breath and book club. I think I said it correctly. But breathing and learning about the physiology of breathing and how we can tap into our physical state, our biological state through the breath work, and doing that in community. So reading books and sharing good physiology and evidence-based medicine beyond what we can talk in the clinic. So really excited to have you here. Today, I want to talk about the physiology of sleep, what causes us to sleep. And if you've been to one of my workshops before, that's kind of a review. Then we will talk about some of the new cool technology that we can use in sleep medicine to look at sleep beyond what a typical sleep study can show. And then we'll practice a little yoga nidra. Has anyone practiced yoga nidra? Raise your hand if you have, Dr. Satuni. Amazing. So yoga nidra is like the sleep of the yogis. It's a meditation practice. Last time we did a mind-body scan. It's a little similar in that it's basically tapping into the present moment, checking in with what our body is holding and telling us, and dropping into a state of relaxation. Hey, Marianne, thanks for being here. Saw you briefly. Awesome. So thank you guys for being here. So let's get started. I want to get my notes up. So I want to start by telling you that I struggle with insomnia. I'm a sleep doctor who can't sleep sometimes. And for a while, that has caused a lot of imposter feelings in me because I'm like the perfectionist and I have all the knowledge and I should have this figured out by now, right? Like there's no reason, my brain says there's no reason why a sleep doctor should be awake at 2 a.m, wondering why they can't shut their brain off. And it happened twice this week, which is it's not usual, but I know that I'm pushing a lot of edges in my identity, building myself as a CEO of my practice, learning business and marketing as I build my practice, doing medicine a little bit differently, more holistically. And that dysregulates my nervous system. It causes me to have this fight or flight, a threat, because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going into uncharted territory. So that is the reason why my body talks, and it talks in the state of stress and anxiety that sometimes doesn't let my body go into rest and digest, which is necessary for sleep. So that's why we're here, because what I did in the moments this week was not beat myself up. It was not, oh, my day is going to be ruined tomorrow. When it was 4 a.m. and I hadn't fallen asleep, that was like, it's as bad as it gets. I put my hand on my chest. I reminded me that I'm here, that I'm okay, that I have control over whether I get a little more cozy, a little warmer. I shift to the couch and put on a nice blanket, cozy, and just be. And remind myself that I'm okay, that I've had bad nights and I've survived every single one of them. And that passion, that compassion to myself makes the difference between the spiral going down oh my gosh, tonight is going to be, if I don't sleep tonight, I'm going to have a terrible day tomorrow. I better sleep in tomorrow so that I catch up on sleep. I don't go down those pathways because we know the way that we can optimize our sleep drive. So let's talk about that. So 2 pathways manage our sleep. Number 1 is how much sleep pressure we have. And that is basically a tank that builds up over the course of the day. So the more that we are awake, the more pressure, it's like a rubber band. We're pulling on a rubber band. And as we get into the evening, we can let that go. And we're going to have that initiating drive to sleep. So we want to build the tank. So one of the rules of cognitive behavioral therapy is we wake up at the same time every day because we want to start building that sleep drive first thing in the morning. So we have control over when we wake up. And that's the hardest thing to do when you struggle with insomnia, right? Because we're like, if I only get 2 hours, I better sleep in and get more. But actually, counterintuitively, what we want to do is start our day, get a little bit more caffeine in the morning if we need to, that's okay. But that wake up time we have control over. And the goal is to optimize that sleep pressure. So sleep pressure is number one. The other one is our biologic clock, the window of time where us humans have optimal sleep. And that's based on the night and day cycle. So we get melatonin that's released in the evening when light goes away. When nighttime sets in, we start to produce melatonin. So that's our biological clock. That's why our best sleep happens during the nighttime. And how do we impact our biological clock? We use zeitgebers, which are the time givers. There are three big ones. Number one is light. So light exposure in the mornings. First thing in the morning, you set your time every day that you're going to get up. You go outside and you get sunlight, natural light into your eyes. Second one is the times of the day that we're eating. So our body is based on cycles. And the more that we are consistent with the times that we give our body nutrition and energy, the more that our body can be in that regulated state. So no heavy meals in the evening, because then our body goes into, oh gosh, I need to digest, and maybe that causes the state of alertness. So the times that you're eating and the times that the sunlight, the times that you're eating and the times that you're moving. So physical activities are third zeitgeber. So you want to get as much physical activity in the morning if you can. Start your day, get moving, get sunlight, and avoid any strenuous, heavy exercise in the evening, because that puts your body into the state of activity. So those are the two things that navigate or that manage our sleep. Beyond that, one of the things that can wake us up at night is sleep apnea, sleep disorders. Sleep apnea is where the airway closes and our oxygen drops, we stop breathing, and our body's response to that is to trigger a breath. Sometimes that's experienced as gasping or this like jumping feeling that we may experience. And we want to rule out sleep apnea. We want to treat sleep apnea. In women, there's a 3 times increased risk of sleep apnea when we go past the perimenopause and menopause years. So we want to screen if we haven't had a sleep test. If we have sleep apnea, we want to use the CPAP, which is what keeps the airway open. We can lose weight to reduce the severity of sleep apnea. We can use a mandibular device to bring the jaw forward and get the airway open that way. But essentially, we want to optimize our oxygen at night. So that's number one. Rule out sleep disorders. Rule out the things that could be waking us up. Medications can disrupt our sleep. Caffeine during the day if we're drinking caffeine too late in the evening. So those are the things that we are important to analyze. But what happens when we've looked at everything and you don't have sleep apnea and you don't have restless legs, you don't have a diagnosable sleep disorder, and yet there are these nights of difficulty falling asleep or difficulty or waking up in the middle of the night and difficulty falling back asleep. So nighttime awakenings. When that's happening more than 3 times per week, that is taking you more than 30 minutes to fall asleep, more than 3 times a week for more than 3 months, that could be a sign of chronic insomnia. And that's a sleep disorder in and of itself. What happens with insomnia is we start to get into this vicious cycle. So if the 2 nights that I had this week, if I had started to overthink, oh gosh, I'm going to have a terrible day tomorrow, I better sleep, I need to sleep, and then I go in bed and I start to try to force sleep, it creates a state of hyper arousal. So in that state, my brain is very active. sleep can't happen if your brain is in that state of arousal. And so what I have to do is actually tap into the physiology to lower that activation state. And we're gonna practice that today and go into a relaxed state. So I'll invite you to practice that with me. But what causes chronic insomnia is that the bed becomes the stressor. So for me this week, it was like I'm doing networking meetings. I'm trying to work on the website. I'm trying to put out my offers and things like that. That was my current arousing experience that has me a little stressed. If the bed becomes the stressor, meaning if I am worried today that tonight I'm not going to be sleeping, then it's really hard to go to bed and you're already fearing that. So that's called conditioned arousal. The bed itself becomes the stressor, and that perpetuates insomnia because then we can't find comfort or safety in the bed, and it becomes this feeling of I will never sleep, I never sleep. And when we start to identify with that, I'm not a good sleeper, your body's going to find reasons why you're not a good sleeper. So a lot of the work around insomnia can be helped through these practices of mindset work and reframing our thoughts around sleep, finding more self-compassion, and knowing that one night of sleep is not going to ruin your day or your life. And that sleep will come because your body's naturally, physiologically designed to have those 30% of your life is spent sleeping. So your body's designed for that because that's where we consolidate our memories, recover our muscles. So muscle repair happens, emotional regulation happens. If we're sleep deprived, then I know it, you get more irritable, right? Anybody can relate to that. You start snapping at everybody around you and you don't know why. And then you beat yourself up and it's like, hey, I just need more sleep. I'll be okay. I think you can. Yeah. You're seeing the sleep wake cycle. We talked a little bit about this. So the sleep drive is this yellow line. That's what pushes us to sleep at night. And then the wake propensity, which is our alerting signal that starts at the beginning of the night. So at the beginning of the morning. So this is what regulates our wakefulness. And you see this little dip here around 2 or 3 p.m. That's natural, like that sleepiness after we eat. That is a naturally occurring phenomenon because our sleep drive is quite high and our alerting signal is not keeping up yet in that 3 p.m. period or so. So that post lunch sleepiness is very physiologically aligned. I want to show you, this is my sleep test. So that's, I'm not sharing any other patient's information here, but I wanted to show you what we do with one of the sleep tests that go beyond traditional sleep testing. This is called a sleep image device. What you're seeing here is my night of sleep. This was on I should show you the bad one first. So this is a night of sleep where I didn't sleep well. All these squiggly lines are from the beginning of the night to the end of the night. What you're seeing here, let's see if I can zoom in somehow. Yeah, you guys can see this. So this is great. Okay, so you're seeing the bottom signal here is movement. So you see when I move in my sleep. Then you see my oxygen. This is the oxygen throughout the night of sleep. Here's my heart rate. Here's the, you don't need to worry about this, but would be like if I was having apnea events, it would be these little squiggly, these little lines here. But what's cool to see is in this visual form, the stages of sleep. So normal architectures would go from light sleep to deep sleep to REM sleep. This one is kind of backwards, but what I want you to see is how much unstable sleep I had. You see the stable sleep and unstable sleep. So this is one of the things that I can assess for patients is the state of the nervous system in the sense of how much sleep is fragmented versus how much sleep is deep and restorative. And this was a night where I had 8 hours of sleep, but I had very poor stable sleep, which is how much of that restorative sleep I had. So you'll notice just the amount of times I'm jumping back and forth in these cycles versus, and this was a day where I was stressed. Okay, so 8 hours of sleep, but you can see that the sleep is very disrupted. This was a night where I had practiced like yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and you can see the difference. I only slept 4 hours, so I mean, this is not super. In terms of the amount of sleep, you could argue that I didn't sleep as much this night, but in terms of the quality of sleep, look at how much stable sleep I had. This is sleep where it was restorative, where you can see there's less jumping back and forth between sleep stages. And on both nights, my oxygen looked pretty good, my heart rate looked pretty good, and no evidence of sleep apnea. So I don't show you that to make anybody here a sleep doctor. I show you that because the things that matter with our sleep are three things, and it's how much sleep we're getting, and we tend to focus a lot on that. Then the quality of the sleep that we get is also very important. So you may be getting enough sleep, but if the quality of your sleep is poor, that's something we want to talk about because it's not getting you into those deep restorative stages. The last one is the regularity of your sleep. We want to consolidate sleep so that we're not sleeping like in 4 hour segments here and there and everywhere because our body can't keep up with that. So I hope that that shows you how, from a holistic standpoint, we can go beyond what traditional sleep testing looks at, which is just like how many times per night are you stopping breathing, and that's one thing, and it may not be sufficient to diagnose sleep apnea. But beyond that, there is a question of how much deep restorative sleep are you getting versus how fragmented is your sleep. How are you feeling when you wake up? Are you feeling restored? Are you feeling re-energized? So, does anybody have any questions? I've been talking at you, and I just wanted it to be an educational introduction. Comments, questions, thoughts? You can raise your hand. You can unmute. Debbie, did I see that you have your hand up? Yeah, you'll need to. Let me see if I can unmute you, actually. I can't unmute you. You'll have to go into the system there and click the little microphone.
Good?
Yes, perfect.
So I guess I didn't realize how important it is then not to be exercising at 9 o'clock at night, not 10 o'clock at night then.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that I muted you just because there's a little bit of feedback, but I did get your question, Debbie. So how detrimental is it to exercise close to bedtime, like 9 p.m.? It depends on the extent, the intensity of that exercise. So at 9 p.m., let's say that's when you're trying to get ready for bed, or that's when you want to start your wind down routine. Is that correct? And you're asking, if I exercise too close to that time, is it going to disrupt my ability to fall asleep? And the answer is yes, right? If you do very intense activity, your body's in that state of activation, of energy. Some of us, I feel very energized after I do an intense workout. And so it's really hard to go from 100 to 0. But what you can do in the evenings, if you're trying to just do anything but be on the TV or watching TV on the computer, is you can do a gentle walk or a gentle stretch, gentle movement, things that get you in touch with your body, with releasing tension. Those things are fantastic before bedtime, but I wouldn't go try to run a marathon. ADHD can cause us to feel like we're always thinking about something, like we always have to keep our mind occupied. And sometimes that gets worse when we are scrolling and when we are constantly stimulated by information, and our brain has a difficulty with attention. And so what we want to do in those settings is give our brain time to regulate that, to give it what it needs in terms of stimulation. So sometimes that could be tapping, right? So when we tap and we have thoughts around, there's, if you Google on YouTube, you can find like tapping exercises for sleep or for insomnia, and you'll notice that somebody may show you different areas on your body to just gently tap. And this is called EFT, is this somatic way of tapping into your body, and it helps you concentrate in that you are physically doing something. You're using both hemispheres of your brain. You can also do that with walking, and you'll notice that when you do any bilateral movement of the two hemispheres of the brain, and you think about whatever is keeping you up or whatever you're worried about or concerned about, if you could use a microphone to talk into your phone as you walk, or if you have a phone call that's stressful, you can walk while you do that, and it actually gets your brain into a more regulated state. So so tapping is one of the tools that can be used for that. You can also do practices that are intended to give your body a release for that hyperactivity state, and that could be shaking and dancing, which is one of the mind body skills that we do. Laura, did you try it with us last time? Yeah, we did shaking and dancing. So what that is we tap into moving our body and releasing tension, and you'll notice that like we have various, for each of us, a place where we tend to hold tension, stress. And for me, it's my neck, right? So when I'm shaking and dancing, we do that for 3 or 4 minutes of just letting energy move through the body. Then you hold still, and you see the difference between being in a hyperactive state, distracted state, into being in a more like conscious state. So that's something else to try, is tapping, is mind body skills that are expressive meditations. They're moving meditations. It could be tapping. It could be anything that gives your body a place to put that energy that your brain wants to keep in its realm. You can give it a place to go in the body. So any other comments or questions? Yeah, Laura, go ahead.
Is all snoring a sign of apnea?
Oh, good question. Not necessarily. Somebody may snore because the airway closes and we hear these vibrations as the airway is collapsing. But that doesn't mean that there's apnea, in that the airway is closing completely or partially for at least 10 seconds, with either the oxygen dropping or your brain having this arousal. And that's how we score an apnea episodes. So somebody may snore and their oxygen doesn't change, or their brain stays steady and we don't see any kind of impact in terms of arousal, that snoring is waking you up. So in those cases, if your sleep stages look great, if your oxygen looks great, if you're feeling rested in the morning and you're getting enough sleep, then snoring may be a benign thing that happens, and it may not be affecting you physiologically. But often, people who snore may have upper airway resistance syndrome, which is that we don't see the oxygen dropping, but we do see a lot of brain activity, brain arousals in response to these changes in respiration. Because when you snore, it means that there's a change that's causing the vibration for us to hear it. So often we do see that there's a disruption in the arousal in the brain. So we can see, so normally I didn't have this to show you, but brain waves during sleep, in deep sleep, they look very tall, very slow, very calm, like the ocean, just very repetitive. In fragmented sleep, we see, the waves are there, and then you see this spike, this rapid spike, and we call those arousals. So that can cause a sensation of non-restorative sleep. You wake up and you think you slept 8 hours, your phone says you slept 8 hours, and you feel like you didn't sleep at all. All right, so I showed you what the sleep image does that goes beyond what your watch does, what your wearable or ring shows you. And those are helpful, but the problem with the wearables is that they can change their algorithm at any time. So we don't know which one is most accurate. They haven't really been validated, compared to a standard gold standard sleep test. And so we take those with a grain of salt. And it's okay to look at patterns for each individual person using the same device each night. It can give us some information, but we don't take it as the only source of truth as to whether you have sleep apnea or anything to that degree. All right, so let's talk about yoga nidra, and let's practice a little bit. So this is the sleep of yogis, and it's a guided practice in which you're led into that state, into the border between wakefulness and sleeping, and it's a state of relaxation, deep relaxation. The goal is not to fall asleep. The goal is to tap into a relaxed state in your physiology, to slow down the brain waves from that rapid brainwave activity into a slow, more steady brain waves. So start with just noticing, getting comfortable, noticing where you're seated, getting a little bit more comfortable. If you can turn your camera off and go lay down if you have access to that. Totally okay. Find a comfortable position and just ground your feet. Put your feet, whether it's on the bed that you're lying on or on the floor, just let your feet find the ground, lay flat on the ground. Allow your hands to soften in your lap. You can keep your eyes open, stay here with me, or you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Bring awareness to the breath and take one slow breath in through your nose. You can hold it at the top and then let it go, either through your nose or through your mouth. Just sigh it out. One more time. Slow breath in through the nose and let it go. Nothing to change, nothing to do right now. Just being present in this current moment. Let's do one more breath all the way in. Fill your belly. Start at the belly to fill the air, and then feel it filling up the upper chest. Feel the air coming in all the way up to the tippy top of your head. And then hold it. And let it go. Sigh it out. Let it go. Feel that tension release. In Yoga Nidra, we're not trying to fall asleep. We're practicing the art of letting go while remaining gently aware. There's no right way to do this. There's no goal. I want you to, wherever you are in your state, whether your eyes are open or closed, just bring awareness to the top of your head. Feel any sensation that's present. Warmth, heaviness, tingling, maybe nothing at all. Bring awareness to your forehead, the space between the eyebrows. Feel the muscles around your eyes soften. Let your jaw be heavy. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Notice if you are feeling tension around the jaw. Notice your throat, your neck muscles. Allow the weight of your head to be held by whatever is beneath it. You may let your head fall back gently. Bring your right ear closer to your right shoulder. Notice where there's tension. And come back to center. And bring your left ear close to your left shoulder. Just notice. You can stay here if you need to, or come back to center when you're ready. Give yourself a couple more movements in any direction that your neck feels like it needs to go. I want you to bring the tips of your fingers to the muscles in the back of the head, like right where the back of your skull meets your neck. Start to notice when you press. Find the point where you're holding the most tension. And just gently massage those areas. Behind the ears, up into the scalp. Just find those tender spots and gently massage. Give your neck a couple of more movements in any direction it needs to. You can keep massaging if that's feeling good. Bring awareness to the shoulders now. Notice how much they've been holding. You can lift your shoulders all the way up to meet your ears. Tight, 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 and then let go. Let them fall. Notice your chest. Notice your belly. Is your belly soft? Bring awareness now to your hands, to the palms, to the fingers, to the forearms, to the biceps. To your back, your upper back, your middle back, and your lower back. Notice if there's tension there that you can loosen. And bring awareness to your hips, your knees, your calves, your ankles. The whole body from the crown to the toes. Present, resting, safe. If there's a feeling or sensation that has been wanting your attention today, not a thought, but a feeling, let it be there without needing to fix it or understand it. Just let it be known. Just gently remind yourself that you can let that go, that you can breathe into it, that in this moment, right here, right now, you are okay. And slowly begin to deepen the breath. In through the nose, a deep breath, fill your belly, fill your chest, all the way up to the tippy top of your head. And hold. And sigh it out, let it go. Bring your awareness to the weight of the chair or the bed beneath you, the air on your skin, Bring your awareness back into the room. And when you're ready, you may gently open your eyes and join us. I'd love to hear if anyone wants to share what that experience was like, what came up, what shifted.
No, what I try to do is when I exhale in these moments is that I release all the stress through my fingertips and my toes on exhale.
You visualize the stress leaving through the extremities.
Right.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I totally agree. Like watching the stress leave is powerful. As a visualization, that's powerful.
Yeah. What I noticed that I wasn't aware of before we started the exercise is that I have this really intense, tight area between my shoulder blades that is actually a little painful, and I wasn't aware of it. I've just been, I guess, powering through today with no awareness at all.
Yeah, it's easy to power through and not pay attention, and that's what those moments allow us to do. What happens if we go through our day with the schedule full and with all the to-dos, and we forget to check in with what's my body like today? Because different day, different body. Different time of day, different body. That's what my yoga teacher says. And it's completely true. You can practice something, and depending on what day, what time, stage of the moon, I don't know. But we forget to check in. We think, hey, my body's just working. But when we pause and we check in and we allow that time, it changes everything, because our brain is going to find the time for you to pay attention to that discomfort, that tension. And if you don't give it the time during the day, guess when it's going to happen? It's going to come up as soon as you put your head down to try to sleep. So that's why we create these times during the day where we breathe, we tap into the parasympathetic, the rest and digest state. And Dr. Satuni has taught us through the books that we're reading that ideally we're breathing in and out through our nose, because we get more oxygen into the deep areas of our lungs when we breathe in through our nose and not through the nose. And there's power in breath work, in holding your breath, because that builds up your tolerance to carbon dioxide. And so I encourage you to join us for Book and Breath Club, because we'll be reading some cool books to go over that physiology. But the breath is our direct route into the state of our physiology. And we can consciously control our breath. We can't change our blood pressure or our heart rate, but we can change the patterns and the depth of our breath. And so that's why breath work is powerful. Does somebody else have a comment, question? Yeah, Forrest, go ahead.
Yes, I find that when I wake up in the morning, I try to start my body laying in bed with a few movements to say it's time to wake up and start your day before I get out of bed, which helps in my case balance and different things. That instead of sitting on the side of the bed, going through a few movements, it's very helpful to do that, to wake my body up and say it's time to start your day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like starting the day with an intention and noticing that you have a body. Number one, sometimes we start our day and we don't even think about the body that's serving us. And that's so beautiful that you open your eyes and you practice gratitude. Hey, I'm here. Good morning, body. Good morning, world. Are we hurting today? Like, are we waking up with joint pain? And if we are, where can I loosen? What stretch can I give you to start this day? Because our bodies does so much for us, right? It holds us, it carries us, it helps us power through, like Laura said. And when we ignore it, it starts to suffer a little bit. So that's beautiful for us. Go ahead, Dr. Satini.
Well, I was going to like invite people to have that opportunity, even if it's like 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock. And again, ideally you're not looking at the clock, but that invitation or that opportunity to just kind of give thanks, because it can happen anytime in the day, but it can also happen at night. And maybe that is part of that regulation component, and it's just when you need it. So rather than looking at it like a negativity, it's like that opportunity to come home to that space that felt so good at another time when you tried it intentionally. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Debbie, go ahead. You'll need to unmute. Yeah, perfect. Oh, you clicked it twice. Go ahead. One more time.
There we go. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something. I've had a lot of problems lately, and it's all in sleeping and my weight and everything. I'll tell you, just in a couple sessions that I've gone to Dr. Z and now you, Dr. Maria, what they want to do is they're telling me, go to your family doctor and get some Xanax. And I do. I'm a high anxiety person, but I'm not going to go that route yet, because I can't tell you, on just these few exercises that I've done, and we've taken upon ourselves to do a few, I'm not going to go to Xanax yet. I am trying to learn to calm myself down. So I don't think I don't want to go on medication right now. I really believe, and I'm not saying I'm not going to ever have to, but I really believe that these exercises and the more awareness that I can't believe my body's in this, I mean, I'm just, because I do tire out like in the afternoon, and then that's when I want to go for sugar.
Mm.
So thank you for listening.
Yeah, Debbie, thank you for sharing that. I so appreciate that you're doing the hard work, choosing to work with these tools that may not come naturally, because we didn't learn this like our whole lives, right? I didn't learn these things in med school. Maybe Dr. Satuni learned some of it because she's the osteopathic route and learned about the body, like manipulation and joints and releasing tension. But we don't get taught, which is surprising, a lot of the the integrative medicine techniques of breathing, yoga, being in touch, and learning to trust our bodies. And what you said, it hits home to me, because we lose a lot of the self-trust when we start to just rely on the external thing, the medication or the quick fix, or if I'll be happy once I get this medication, or once I get this treatment, or once I get the sleep resolved. And I think it comes back to building the self-trust, learning to trust our body again, to listen to our body. And if our sleep, it doesn't feel right, yes, let's do a sleep test. Let's see if there's a sleep disorder. If it's anxiety, let's work with a mental health therapist and let's express whatever our body's experiencing. But sometimes we've done those things and we still have a nervous system that's just a little bit like this, like just a little bit more anxious. And how do we learn to love ourselves through that? Because for me, as a sleep doctor, I don't want to take a sleeping medication. There's side effects, and there are some that are coming out. They're trying to make them better. But I know that what keeps me up at night often is my racing thoughts, and it's anxiety. And I've had to learn to show compassion for that part of me that's just a little more anxious. And there's nothing wrong with me. The question is, how do I learn to work with that nature? And how do I put myself in spaces where I get to build that trust back in my body, and to remind myself, hey, I'm okay right now. Like, I can breathe. Anxiety sometimes is from the feeling of lack of control over a situation, and feeling like we're at the mercy of, like, my body's not working, or my job, whatever the anxiety stressor is. Reminding ourselves that we're okay, and that makes all the difference. And that's why I named the Mind Body series the Coming Home Experience, because it is about coming home to ourselves It's about working with our body and the tools that we have that we can be grateful for, like Forrest said, waking up and just checking in with where can I release tension this morning? That's beautiful. So thank you for being here. Thank you for practicing these tools with Dr. Satuni, with myself. Mind-body medicine is powerful, and we need more of it in the world. And it's not any gimmick. It's literally like the things that are free. So compassion, kindness to ourselves, being out in the world, connecting with others, finding communities where you can show up and be yourself, where you can show up and feel like, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. That is more healing sometimes than a lot of the medications we prescribe. So thank you guys for being here. I am going to offer an invitation to join me in practicing more of this. So is that okay? You guys okay with me sharing a little bit more about what I'm doing? Let me share my screen. So I have built Dream Life Medicine and Wellness. It is a holistic place where I can help people from a whole person perspective improve their sleep and metabolic health. I am a triple board certified sleep physician, and I believe in the power of thoughts. I believe in the power of our mind and our body. And so what I want to offer you guys today is a space to work on this together, to really say, hey, I'm ready. I'm done with these sleepless nights. I'm ready to take control and work on these tools and practice them in community, because community is medicine, and doing this work with others is actually very powerful and very wholesome. And it reminds us of our shared humanity. So normally, if you do 6 sessions, 6 weeks of cognitive behavioral therapy with me, it's about a $1,600 investment. I've created a coming home series recently, which is different videos talking about how do we tap into our relationship with rest, our relationship with food, our relationship with movement, with connection, our relationship with ourselves, right? How can we be more kind to ourselves? So I made a whole series of videos on that. And I'm creating a community called Mind Body Coffee and Mind Body Tea, which is going to be on Friday afternoons. Mind Body Coffee is Tuesday mornings. We meet in a group setting and we practice these mind body skills. And it could be like a laughing meditation, believe it or not. That's a type of meditation called laughing meditation. We practice shaking and dancing. We practice visualizations. We practice breath work, which I'm learning a lot more now about. And that's a space of community and connection, 4 sessions per month. That's all called the Mind Body group. And for those who are here in Florida or in Georgia, I am offering the assessment of sleep image. What I showed you with my sleep test, looking at the different sleep stages, I offer that as a $300 sleep assessment. And we look at your particular sleep, 3 nights of sleep architecture analysis to see how your nervous system is doing beyond sleep apnea diagnosis, but really assessing the quality of the sleep that you get. And in addition, for those that choose to invest in this today, I'm offering a presentation talking about sleep and perimenopause, a masterclass talking about what we know about how sleep changes in the perimenopause and postmenopausal women, and why it's so hard to treat sleep conditions in that population, but why it's so important. And so all of that is part of what I want to share with you. And that total value comes out to over $2,400. For those of you who are here today, I want to offer an invitation to join us in a founding group for this 6-week program. It's going to be $579. That's less than $100 a week to do this work, to invest in this with me. And you get lifetime access to the Mind Body community that I'm starting and growing. So we have a growing community of people who are doing these mind body practices. If none of this sounds like your cup of tea today, that's totally okay. It's just an invitation. If you want to walk with me, I do walks here in St. Pete at Crescent Lake every second Tuesday of each month, every second Saturday of each month, sorry. So tomorrow, 9 a.m. at Crescent Lake. I'll be by the dog park, and that's through a nonprofit called Walk with a Dog. And the idea is join me in waking up early on Saturday, walking outside, getting sunlight, connecting with others, and practicing what is lifestyle medicine, stress management, talking about nutrition, talking about sleep health. All of those things is me practicing what I preach and doing it in community. And I think that's powerful. So thank you all for being here. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments? Yeah, Laura, go ahead.
What day do you meet in the 6-week group sessions?
I'm open to doing this on Friday, so it's going to be depending on who joins the founders group, but we'll keep that kind of flexible, but ideally on a Friday, late morning, like 10:30 a.m. or something like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions?
Thank you so much, Maria.
Yeah.
It's Michelle. The other question that I had is, let's say you're like going to miss a class due to like travel or working or whatever. Are they recorded and then available after the fact, even though you're not like in live in the community?
Yes, I'm going to record those and have them posted. Yeah. So our community is held in the Circle community. So that's anybody can access that. And I try to put some free videos in there. So that's our free Dream Life wellness community. It's a place where if you're working on this stuff, you can show up and say, hey, here's what I'm celebrating. Here's what I did today. I practiced breath work and here's what happened. Or I went for a walk and I'm celebrating it. Whatever it is, that's a sense of community that's totally free. And then there's a space within the community where if you go into one of the paid programs, you can access recordings and things like that. Any other thoughts, questions? Amazing. Thank you all for being here. It was wonderful. So if you want to join, just send me a message. I'm going to post a link here. If you have questions, you can send me a message. I'm going to post a link here where you can join. There's no pressure. This is not meant to be a sales pitch. This is me inviting you to something and growing in the fact that I do a lot of things, and I'm also wanting to build something that is helpful to people. And so that's the link if you want to join. And otherwise, stay in touch, and we'll be doing a lot more free events like this. So just stay in touch, stay in my circle. And I appreciate you guys for being here. Have a beautiful Friday. Thank you all. Good to see you. Nice to meet you for those new faces. Thank you for being here.